Space, the final frontier. Join us for a bold conversation. Our prime directive: to recap our favorite Star Trek shows, both new and old. To engage in debate about all things Trek. Prepare to energize with phasers set to stun.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Phasers Set to Stun, where we continue to show our love for everything Star Trek in this ongoing series from a film by podcast, which focuses on every quadrant of the expanding universe of Trek by covering television, animation, movies, directors, and much more. Plotting the course as always is your core Trek crew. I'm Scott Hoffman.
I'm David Burns.
And I'm Wayne Whited.
And this week, we're also happy to have a special guest joining our crew. Welcome, Chuck Bryan.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm really looking forward to talking to you, all of you on Phaser Set to Stun for Star Trek First Contact.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks for being on here. We wanted to have you on the show because we heard the great job that you did on Surely You Can't Be Serious when they were talking about Star Trek the Motion Picture. What can you tell us about how that came about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think it was Dee and Jason were talking about what's coming up, and it was in one of their What Went Wrong series, and they were going to compare the motion picture with The Phantom Menace. And I had just going through rewatching the director's cut of Star Trek the Motion Picture, and I'm saying, whoa, I think it's not worth the hate on that one. So reached out to them. They said, we got to have you on the show, and we recorded that show earlier this summer, and it came out, and it was pretty well received.
Very good episode.
It is a good episode.
episode.
Star Trek the Motion Picture is one of my top 3 Star Trek films, so I really enjoyed it.
Oh, great.
We're happy to have you on the crew.
Yeah, welcome.
In this episode, we're continuing to follow the next generation on the silver screen with their first solo trek with Star Trek First Contact. Released in 1996 in November. Released in November 1996. Written by Brandon Braga and Ronald D. Moore, with Rick Berman as producer and one of our favorites in the director's chair, Jonathan Frakes.
Yes,
for a first next generation film, I was ecstatic to see Jonathan Frakes in the chair.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he wasn't the first choice for director.
No,
they asked Ridley Scott first, and
I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, I agree.
I am too. I mean, it does have kind of interesting parallels with Alien, since it has almost kind of a space horror kind of bend to it.
Yeah.
But I absolutely think that Frakes is the better choice there. I think it would have gone in some directions it probably shouldn't have with Ridley.
But I think Frakes even said that he went and watched like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Alien, to kind of get his mindset for this film when he was directing it. And you can kind of see a little bit of that in this movie.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Well, it absolutely seems to reach a broader audience.
Yeah,
with that kind of approach.
And John McTiernan was another director that they were considering.
That's right.
This. And that could have been a slightly different movie altogether.
Yes, it would have.
But
I'm thinking Die Hard,
Exactly. Which makes me want to see like the alternate universe video store where we could actually pick that up off the shelf. I mean, we still have the choice of having this one, but at least we can see what would have happened with it.
Because does that mean we would have Russia going, yippee-ki-yay, mother?
Oh, God. We'd have Data saying that, yeah.
Oh, that would work.
It
would. Yeah, I know I was excited to see this from the first time I saw the trailer drop. I knew I absolutely wanted to see this. You get the full Next Generation crew facing off with the Borg in a follow-up to one of the biggest two-parters in Trek history, Best of Both Worlds. Yep. Even though that's not the last place we see the Borg, it seems like almost a pickup from that.
Right.
In that we're following kind of the repercussions for Picard and where he stands with the fleet. So before we get too much further into it, obviously let's talk about a red alert, because unlike when we discussed the series, this episode is full of spoilers because we can't really say anything if we don't. It'll be a short episode.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, please go and do so and come back to join us. We'll be waiting here for you. All right, well, let's break it down a little bit. Dave, why don't you give us a summary of what this movie is all about?
Absolutely. Picard and crew now find themselves on a new Enterprise out guarding the neutral zone when Starfleet Command reaches out to advise the enemy that no one wanted returned has done just that. The Borg have reappeared and set on reaching Earth once and for all, no matter who gets in its way. Quickly, Picard disobeys orders and sends the Enterprise to Earth to join the fight. In a devastating battle, the Enterprise and Starfleet seem to have stopped them. However, in getting their ship destroyed, the Borg have other plans, and that involves going into the past, where the Enterprise and its crew must quickly follow to save Earth and one of its historical figures from total annihilation.
Yeah, I mean, as you just described, it's a pace that does not, it's unrelenting.
It is.
Right? It doesn't slow down from the first moment it starts to pick up.
Yeah. So, Scott, you were talking about how when you first saw the trailer, just how excited you were about it. I don't know if you remember the teaser trailer. And the teaser trailer started off with, the Mr. Movie voice kind of giving this thing is going to happen and, these enemies, whatever. And you see this Borgified kind of structure in space. And then it slowly rotates and you see the Delta, the Federation Delta, and then a Borg cube comes flying by.
I remember that.
I do remember that now.
And then immediately after that, it had shots of the Enterprise D in it. So at this point, I started thinking, oh, they're going to do like a Constitution A, like with the Enterprise A, they're just going to get another Galaxy class starship. So it was much later before I even realized that they were going to do a whole new Enterprise for this. So that trailer just really did its job in getting ready for this to land.
It did.
Absolutely. I forgot about that teaser until you just mentioned it.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah.
That was very well done.
I know we're going to get around to talk a little bit later because I know Wayne's going to have some treats for this. But as soon as the first beat starts, when the Paramount symbol comes up and we're hearing Jerry Goldsmith's score, you're in for a treat in this movie because his music in this film is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And is one of my favorite scores of all the Star Trek films.
Yep, absolutely, 100% agree. I mean, I'm probably the world's biggest Goldsmith fan, and it is one of my favorites. It's top form Goldsmith.
Wayne, I'm gonna be right there next to you as the second Goldsmith fan. In fact, I still like the music from Motion Picture, but this one is a extremely close second, and I can pick up either one and put it on, and I'm enjoying it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one that seems to have to kind of straddle a lot of different almost subgenres, right? Because we do have kind of the little bit more of the horrific moments, the action and adventure, but also the comedy on the surface. And I think it does so seamlessly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's perfect for that. He's done all those genres. I mean, no one else could do a score better for Star Trek than Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah. With some help from Roy Orbison doing Ooby Dooby.
Ooby Dooby.
That's a tough earworm to get out of your head, right?
It's the only song on that jukebox.
Clearly, right?
That's true. It's just a bunch of records that all play that one thing. And a little bit of Berlioz, right?
Yeah.
That scene where Picard is kind of contemplating the upcoming. Well, actually, he's not contemplating the battle at all. He's kind of dealing with his frustrations of not being able to be in there because Starfleet said, "Stay away. That's too much of a risk."
And what if that was a great shot too? Just fabulous how Jonathan Frakes just kind of his face came in, kind of like Michael Myers.
Yes,
he did. Yeah,
just as the music kind of swells up, right?
Yeah.
And it's shaking all of the contents of his desk. It was just very well done. All right, so from the beginning, I feel like we should probably talk about the cast a little bit because obviously we have most of the Next Generation cast, aside from Whoopi Goldberg as Guinan, which was a little bit of a surprising, omission in this one. But I think given the nature of the story, it may be better that Guinan wasn't there, because it
It-
didn't seem like it needed a lot of soul searching on this one.
Well,
didn't
yeah, but
need
it
it.
is surprised that she didn't appear because of the Borg. I mean, with her and the history she has with the Borg, it was a bit of a surprise, but it kind of would have crammed too much into the story, I think.
Right.
I think she was even
Absolutely.
surprised she wasn't asked back.
Yeah. Right. Considering it was a Borg story. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does make sense. I mean, I do miss her because she is part of the crew. But I feel like you're right. It would have crammed too much into the story, and it really would have taken away from the flow of it, I feel.
Yeah, and it probably wouldn't have been any more than maybe a cameo appearance like some of the other Next Generation cast made. I don't really see it being worth anything having her appear in the film.
Yeah, 'cause I think the pacing of this film was perfect. So,
Yeah, she definitely. I think Alfred Woodard kind of played the part that Guinan would have really played, kind of a reflection to Picard and what he was going through in this
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
and she was phenomenal.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say, we had some modern day star power as they were rising. I would think Alfred Woodard, James Cromwell, just to name a few.
Yeah, he'd
guests
been
that
on
kind of grew the crew.
He'd been on Star Trek a couple of times before, on Next Generation Deep Space Nine, and wasn't it the year before that he was nominated for an Academy Award for Babe? I think
Babe.
that was 85 or 95.
yeah.
So, I mean, he's
Wow.
fresh off of that. That's pretty big star power for 1996.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
and
first saw him. I remember him in, of course, Babe, and then The Green Mile, L.A. Confidential. I don't know if you remember the iRobot movie. He,
Oh, yes.
yeah, he actually played one of the doctors who was the head of the company that made the robots. So he's no stranger to good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he was the perfect choice. I know we're going to get into what ifs a little bit later. I think he's precisely the right choice, especially when you think about the fact that he acknowledges this movie as one that's probably the closest to kind of playing himself.
Right. Which is kind of scary, isn't it?
That he's inventing warp drive technology, or that he's a big fan of Roy Orbison that likes to
Or
drink.
maybe he likes tequila,
Right,
He likes to
exactly.
dance, and he's a big Roy Orbison fan.
He likes to hit on counselors, things like that. A few other additions to the cast. I think Neil McDonough as Lieutenant Hawk did a superb job, and honestly, kind of threw me off as far as the whole red shirt theory and who you think might be eliminated. He was doing so well. I was very surprised when he didn't make it. It seemed like it could have been another addition to the cast.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there was is it Michael Horton who played Lieutenant Daniels?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And he was the officer, I believe, who when Picard was going crazy and saying, well, we got to hold him off no matter what at all cost.
Yeah.
And he looks to Worf in that whole scene. I know we'll get to that a little bit later, but I thought Horton did a really good job in that role right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got to mention another star that's very prominent and very important to this, Alice Krieg
Yes.
as the
Oh, yes.
Borg Queen.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Creepy.
She's fantastic in here. She's fantastic in everything she does, but the Borg Queen, what an incredible character she created.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's a wonderful actress. She's done a lot of stuff. She was in Chariots of Fire and Ghost Story and the second Thor. She's done a lot of television, and I'm going to do a shout out here too that she's actually crossed over into Doctor Who and done some of the audios. So I love hearing her, I love seeing her, and of course, she came back a couple of times later. I'm not going to mention the second one, but she came back in the Voyager finale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She was really good in against Mickey Rourke in a show called Barfly. That was a really good movie.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very interesting choice to have her as a voice for the Borg, even though it's not the voice for it. And it gives another interesting kind of dive into the structure of the Borg, making it seem a little bit more, and there's another parallel to aliens or an ant hive, right, or a beehive, having some kind of hierarchical structure with a queen kind of at the top. Surprising term, but very effective.
I like in some of her dialogue, it comes out like I have always been there. When she was talking to Picard,
Yeah.
You know, there towards the end of the film, you know, that her voice has always been there because he kind of recognizes her at first, but doesn't, but then does. You know, it goes back and forth. I like that addition that she has always been there. We just didn't realize it until now.
Yeah, I do too.
And we got something new with her coming in, being the queen, you know, not having that organizational structure before. It's really great to go and see a Star Trek movie, and they tell you something that it's new, but it feels like it just fits, as opposed to being something out of left field that you're trying to wrap your head around. It's very natural that they would have a hive organization in addition to that whole collective.
Yep. I think they've always done a great job with the Borg species to kind of peel little bits of wallpaper away, just so that you see a little bit of a hint at what's under the surface, and makes you want to kind of peel it a little bit more, right? So we're never necessarily served up with everything we need to know about it, and this was just one more taste that I think was very, very well explored in future episodes.
Here's something I want to explore, and you know, go with me here, guys. When they're on the Enterprise E here towards the beginning, and they're out of the neutral zone and doing their kind of thing, they're all obviously bored, and you know, they kind of talk about, you know, they're just working the bugs out of the ship, what they've been done. But Geordi makes a comment. He says, "We've been out here a year.
We're ready.
We're ready. So where is this year of stories?"
We've actually had a shakedown cruise.
I would love to find out what stories we are missing in that 1 year with Enterprise E.
I wonder if they've ever explored that. I mean, I don't know too much about the novels at the time, or I do know the comics. I don't remember them ever doing anything there. But that you bringing that up, I never thought about that. Yeah, a whole year of stories and adventures with this crew that we've never seen.
It's intriguing to think about.
I wonder if within that year of stories, we might get a little bit more of learning about Geordi's transition from the visor to the implants.
Yeah.
Right? So it's entirely possible that even though, you know, medicine has advanced a lot, and it's possible that he wouldn't necessarily need time for recovery, but with a major change like that, it's entirely possible that we might at least have kind of an engineering hiatus where he has to at least step aside to a certain degree while he works through that, while he continues to live with that. I was glad to see that was one of the changes that they had made here, to finally give LeVar the opportunity to lose the visor.
Get away from the visor of the board guy.
I'm sure he was happy.
Yeah. Even though it was like, oh, but I still have to wear contacts? Damn it. Can you just have it look like my eyes? Come on.
So, I was going to ask about all the cameos that happened, if y'all had caught a lot of those.
So there was one interesting one that I didn't even know existed, but Adam Scott
Yes.
as a con officer on the Defiant.
Very quick. Yeah. He's there.
Wow.
No, I didn't
Which
catch
other ones
that.
do you see, Chuck?
Parks and Recreation. My favorite episode with him in it was the Treat Yourself, where he got the Batman outfit.
Oh, right.
It looks good. If you like it, wear it out the store. Another one that I really liked, it was actually uncredited, was Ethan Phillips as the Major when they went into the bar, and of course we had Robert Picardo making the scene as the holographic doctor.
I love his scene. It's so funny.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
I am a doctor, not a doorstop.
Yeah.
And then the last character wasn't really a cameo, but it took me a second. I actually had to go and look this one up because I kept looking at him thinking I know him from somewhere. But Nicky the Nose was played by Don Stark, and that name would not have meant anything to me. But when I went and looked it up, he played Bob on that 70s show, the guy, the next door neighbor with the afro
you're right.
on there. And then once you know that and you go back and you watch that again, you're going, oh my gosh, it is totally Bob.
Yeah, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, you cannot.
That scene with Robert Picardo, one of the things that I loved about that was Beverly's reluctance to use the EMH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
I
like,
could
I
see her.
swore I'd never use one of these things, but fine.
I could see her saying that.
Gonna
Yep.
do it.
Yeah.
I got 20 Borg knocking outside the door.
Right.
And then, of course, we don't want to forget Dwight Schultz's brief appearance, playing Barclay on there, and then I also want to mention too Patty Esitake's appearance as Nurse Ogawa. She recently, in the last week or two, passed away.
That's right.
And I think this is her final appearance, and it's just nice to see these familiar faces from the Enterprise in this film.
It was.
Yeah.
I picked up
Very
that her
important
first name
voices.
I picked up that her first name was Elisa
Yes.
Agawa on there. I'd not ever heard that before. So
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I think it's time for us to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive a little bit deeper into the movie and get into some of our favorite parts. Okay, we're back. So we were just diving into the meat of the story and kind of some of our favorite parts. We talked a little bit about Jordy transitioning from the visor to having bionic implants, and it made me think that I wanted to discuss the opening of this movie, which seems like it has kind of a thematic deep dive into Picard's psyche
Yeah.
to show how deeply ingrained the Borg still are. I know that's something that comes back in Picard season 3, but it was a very clever choice to have all the names out of focus kind of sharply coming in, and as you pull out, you see that you're kind of coming out of Picard's head almost and seeing how vast the Borg ship was and how much he found himself kind of swallowed up in it. All the way up until the end of that sequence when you see was it a drill or some kind of probe or something like that?
Going towards his eye.
Actually
going into the eye.
touching his
That's-
eye, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. As it's going. Yeah, no,
From
no,
that
no.
moment, you know what kind of movie this is going to be. Just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, a little bit of body horror. And then quickly goes to, you think that it's, real life, but you're still in the dream sequence until he looks at the side of his cheek and sees a Borg implant burst out. Things like that were brave decisions. I think there were bold decisions to make, but for showing kind of the horror of the Borg, I think it was a good call.
Yeah, it set the tone. Yeah.
I think getting to explore more with Picard in this, because I mean, what he had to deal with at the end of with Best of Both Worlds, that's a lot. And, we talked about the family episode that we all love, where he deals with some of that. But in this movie, we get to explore more of that in depth with him. And I think one of my favorite scenes of this entire movie is when Lily and him, he's basically giving up on the crew. He's going to stop the Borg at all costs, no matter what the cost is. And Lily goes off with him to try to talk him out of it. And you get that whole Moby Dick talk with Captain Ahab and all of that. That's one of my favorite scenes of this whole movie, is what Lily does right there and pulls him out of it, because she makes him realize what he's doing here. And that's exploring the whole thing with him, He's at that point that he's got to realize, what am I doing? They've controlled me for this long. And again, they're controlling him here because he's hearing them. He's got to do something about it, and it just takes Lily to pull him out of that. I just love that.
Yeah. Well, and it's coming on the heels of a moment that we never expected to see, where he's challenging Worf's bravery.
Oh, yeah.
It's a moment where it feels like he's, in that moment, losing a grip on his crew. Like he's becoming somebody that they're not going to trust, that they're not going to follow.
He had become Captain Ahab at this point.
He had
totally lost sight of the objective, and the right thing to do at that point.
Yeah. And I think it's appropriate that Lily was the one that shook him out, because I don't know that anyone on the crew would have, right?
Yeah. That whole line from Worf, if you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, whoa,
Yeah. Although I think his apology could have been a little stronger. When he says, I am sorry about some of the things that I said. And I'd be like, if I was Worf, I'd be like, bring that a little further. You were like an inch from death. Bring it a little further.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's get the pain sticks out. We're gonna.
I want to go back a little bit. I want to go back a little bit towards the beginning of the film, where they're listening to the audio of the other ships who are getting attacked or attacking the Borg, and they're all like, the camera's just moving around to the different crew members as they're listening to this, and the Picard stands up and walks over and basically shuts off the audio, because it's devastating to listen to, obviously, of what's going on. And that's when he's making the decision, and he turns to his crew and tells them, I'm about ready to disobey some orders. If you disagree with that, go ahead and tell me. I'm going to notate it. And then when Data makes his comment too, that I believe I speak for everybody. we're with you, that kind of thing. So I
hell
love
with
that.
their orders.
Yeah, to hell
That's-
with their orders. Yeah.
That scene too is very reminiscent of when the Enterprise was listening to the battle at Wolf 359.
Yes.
It really revokes that scene. And let me point out too, in this part of the type of the film, to go up to something I mentioned back in Generations too, we finally have new uniforms for the crew.
Yeah, finally.
They tried it last movie, it didn't work out, and now we have them, and they were created by Robert Blackman, and these look sharp. These are great film, great costumes. They made them in mass production so that they could use them on Deep Space Nine, and they actually switched over just right after this film in the episode Rapture. After the little mistake they made with Generations, we finally got them, and they look great.
Yep. I know one of our complaints, Wayne, that we talked about in Generations was the lighting of the bridge.
Yes.
I think, though, this one was perfect.
Well, the lighting works better for this new design, the new bridge, the new sets and stuff. It's more of a gray. I kind of miss that nice, colorful look, though. But it works better. The lighting and the sets and all mixed together. It didn't quite mix properly with the Enterprise D.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like they almost had kind of a darker tone, which helps to kind of transition when you see parts of it that have been assimilated.
Yeah, and I'm sure that when they built the sets too, they also had that in mind. The Enterprise D sets were thought of. When they built those, they had the brighter television lights. So I'm sure that was considered.
I mean, this literally is the Wrath of Khan for the Next Generation crew.
Yeah.
Yes.
You get that darker story, that darker tone, the darker of everything, the look of it. So I think that's why they went with all of that, and it worked perfectly.
We also get a bit of comedy on the surface. I know we kind of touched on that briefly. But can we take a minute to talk about Drunk Deanna?
Oh, that's one of the funniest parts of the film.
Yeah, for sure. She handles that. She takes that in stride so well. But also seeing Riker kind of interact with her and trying to kind of shake her out of it.
Her whole "we don't have timeline." I don't know the whole
There
line.
is no
it's like,
time.
really?
We don't have time. What was I saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're blended.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
So back at the battle scene,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I thought was really cool, and we'll get into this with the music, but we get the Klingon theme again.
Yes.
At this particular point, and we see the Defiant come out. The ship that was meant to battle the Borg is finally battling the Borg.
Finally.
Right.
Yes.
But it's not faring too well, and so it gets disabled, and of course the crew, the survivors, are beamed over. And there was a great line from Riker. He looks over at Worf and he says, "Nice little ship," and Worf looks at him like, "Little," And there was actually that was a throwback, I think, from a show called DS9 episode called Second Chances, where transporter duplicate Thomas Riker called it a nice little ship. So don't know if those are related, but both actors said them in two different ways.
Good call. And he even continued with that. You do know how to remember to fire phasers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had seen somewhere there was a follow-up line they thought about going with where Worf responds with, "It's the green button, right?" But that they didn't want to give him too many comedy chops too early. Don't give him a sense of humor yet.
Yeah.
The registry number of the Defiant is 74205, which is the birthday of Gene Roddenberry's son.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
That's right.
Okay.
I think then they were going to destroy the Defiant there, and then they're like, no.
Oh, yeah.
no.
Oh,
they were
Destroy
talking-
this.
We still need it on this other show that we haven't quite finished up.
Yeah.
We really, really, really need it for this little Dominion war.
We just got a spaceship on DS9. Don't take it away from us.
Right.
Exactly.
But that was a great way, though, of getting Worf, who is now fully engaged with Deep Space Nine, back into the movie.
Yes, it was genius. It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing on that battle. So ILM did the effects for this, and in '96, ILM was also working on another movie. It wasn't a new movie; it was a re-release of a film with updated special effects, and they had completed work on the CGI Millennium Falcon. And there is a scene at the very start of that cut where some phasers hit the side, and you see the Millennium Falcon go streaking by in the background.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, there is.
So is it part of the battle?
Yeah.
It is part of the battle, but it's a small ship. It's in the background.
Yeah. You have to look quick.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just
okay.
wondering if they just, Han and Chewie happened to pull by and they're like, nope, keep going. Roll them up.
I
Keep
don't
going.
know. I'm counting it as canon. No.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a great battle.
Yeah.
It really was.
All right, let's talk a little bit about behind the scenes. So I had seen that this one held the record as the highest grossing Star Trek film to date, making over 150 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And highest first weekend gross of over 30 million.
Yeah.
So that's a record that it held until the 2009 Star Trek movie. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So clearly, right out of the gate, Next Generation is doing a good job. Bringing people in with a movie that people are still happy about, very talking about a lot. Maybe not so much with Insurrection and Nemesis, but we'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah, its budget was 45 million, but it brought in 146 million, so they did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I like too is the fact they wanted to do more with the Borg's costumes in the show, but they didn't have the budget to do it. This time they had the budget to do it, and the Borg look incredible in this movie.
Yeah.
There's so many variations. There's only like I think eight or so actors that were listed in the credits for this, but they had made different combinations of the costumes, and they look great. And going back, it's just in kind of reading about the costumes, I didn't really realize at the time in my memory how the costumes for the Borg looked in the television show, but they said they would put parts like a little battleship on one of the shoulders that if you were to expand that up on a movie screen, it just wouldn't hold up.
Yeah.
But on a TV screen, looks fine. So the Borg got an incredible upgrade. That I think they were able to use these costumes, just like the new uniforms, they were able to use these costumes in future TV shows. And we'll talk about this later in the music, but the Borg got a theme. So, good stuff.
Well, and we also get some, I guess, Federation adjacent species that are assimilated.
Yeah.
Some Bolian and Klingon species I had kind of noticed there. So it makes me kind of wonder, there's got to be the precursor to this, if they had encountered any Klingons on the way that they assimilated on their way to Earth, or if that had happened earlier. Any thoughts on that?
I think they were assimilated earlier. I think didn't they beam over from the spear?
I don't remember. Yeah, they had to have been, because we didn't necessarily get a lot of shots inside the cube.
The only reason I say that is because I think one of them was also a Cardassian, and we know there wasn't
was.
a Cardassian on the Enterprise.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. When we think about what led up to this movie, it might be interesting to see a little bit of that story as well.
Yeah. I mean, that what made this movie take a darker tone too is how the crew members were just getting taken and quickly, obviously, being turned into Borg, and then turn around and just having to fight the crew members again. That was creepy. Even Picard makes that mention when he's breaking up the crew and sending them down to the lower decks to fight them. And then obviously we know what he has to do in the holodeck when he just blows off that he's just killed one of his crew members, even though they were the Borg.
Yeah.
That's dark.
Yeah, when you can see that uniform underneath the Borg outfit, that was a really powerful scene.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and then there's, I think before then, when Picard has the moment when a crew member kind of pleads to him for help.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that momentary hesitation, because he's got to be coming from a place where he's like, I was assimilated, but I was saved. But in this moment, I know that it's probably not possible with a lot of the crew, so he has to shoot him, and that's a very difficult decision.
Yep. I believe this is the movie too that Jonathan Frakes got his nickname. Two Take Frakes.
Yeah.
Take two. Two.
He's Jonathan Frakes is really good at what he does, and I can see why he kept coming back for Star Trek. Still is doing Star Trek TV series.
every time you see directed by Jonathan Frakes on any Star Trek episode, you're just like, okay, I'm all in for this.
Yeah.
No, we know that. We recently discovered that on Discovery.
Yep.
When his name appeared up, we knew we were in for a good episode.
And sure enough, it was.
You know that he comes to the production with a vision.
He
of
does.
what he wants, and it seems like he has a real talent for being able to bring the cast and the crew together to help them kind of share in that vision and then make it so, as Picard would say.
Nice. I think what it is his passion for Star Trek is still there, and it's he got that when he worked on the Next Generation TV series, and he just kept that, and it shows. You know, he knows how to direct a film, he knows how to work with actors because he is an actor, and it just everything just comes to fruition with him and with working with all these people, cast, crew, and he knows how to handle that, and his vision is spot on because he comes from Star Trek. He has it in his blood, right?
Yep.
So, you know, and he knows that. And that's why they need to continue to use him in other stuff. Can keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Because he's
absolutely.
really good at it.
I hope we see him come back in Strange New Worlds
Yep.
at least
yeah,
once or twice.
That we do.
In an interview with Jerry Goldsmith, Jerry was talking about how weird it was to sit next to the director while they were watching them lay the music down, but then also seeing the director as an actor up on the screen, you know. And this is '96, so he's like, well, this is not all that common that you
Right.
see that.
Yeah.
And he was very complimentary of the job that Frakes did all around.
He was.
Yeah.
I think originally, wasn't Picard supposed to be on the planet and Frakes was supposed to be on the Enterprise?
Yeah, that's right.
And they made the switch. Obviously, they needed to make the switch because Frakes needed to be off camera quite a lot more because since he's directing the film. But I think that was a smart move too because having Picard on the ship made more sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to mention this in the what ifs, but Picard never made contact with the Borg in that draft, and that just didn't make any sense to anyone. Why, you know, of all the characters who had history with the Borg, it's Picard. And, you know, why would he not have anything to do with the Borg in this film? It wouldn't have worked for him.
No.
Any other production notes we want to mention?
The site of where the Phoenix was a decommissioned Titan II nuclear missile, and it was demilitarized so that it had no fuel or payload. And what's really interesting is that particular filming location is under the auspices of, and these are some old treaties, the SALT, the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaties, and SMART, the Strategic Missile Arms Reduction Treaty. Now, these were signed some time ago, but one of the stipulations for that is that one of the two silo doors must remain unblocked at all time so that Russian satellites can go over to verify that thing is still there.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
That's a pretty intimidating thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they actually had to get permission to put the fiberglass cone of the Phoenix up on top to replace the cone that was really there. And so of course that was filmed in Arizona, and then the encampment out on the outside was filmed in California's Angeles National Forest. So it was some distance away. But through the magic of movies, you know, we put those two areas together in the same place, and with a little composition for ILM, we see the Phoenix going out, launching from behind the bar there.
Wow. That's a pretty significant stipulation for a shoot. No pressure, guys. No pressure.
No pressure.
It added a lot of production quality to the film. I mean, they couldn't they wouldn't have had the budget to build anything like that on set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Data jumps down, that's actually a real missile silo place.
Yeah.
I heard
it
there was
looks
some drama with that stunt. Wasn't
Really?
there? Well, I think I've heard Brent Spiner talking about them kind of telling him what the stunt would be and kind of writing that all the way down the missile and being a bit nervous about that. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I'll trust Brent with the story.
Yeah.
And there was I thought it was kind of a great little bit of foreshadowing for later on, where Picard goes up to the to the Phoenix and he's touching it. And Data says, well, does touching it make it any more real to you? And he says something about being human. When you can touch and feel something, it makes it more real to you. You connect with it. And of course, Data puts his hand on it, and all he can tell is just the mechanical aspects of it, just a very clinical description of what he's feeling, kind of foreshadowing this organic flesh that's going to be grafted onto him later on.
That's a very interesting take on that. I hadn't even made that connection. But yeah, that's brilliant foreshadowing. Well, guys, I think we have a lot more to talk about, but let's stop here and continue talking next week about Star Trek First Contact. As always, thanks to our listeners for joining us. Hailing frequencies are always open for you to share your thoughts and questions on Facebook, Instagram, and your favorite social channels. Email us at afilmbypodcast@gmail.com. Find us online at afilmbypodcast.com. And if you're looking for more exclusive content and swag, send some Latinum our way through Patreon. See you next time for another episode of Phasers Set to Stun.